You think you hated the boyfriend in Midsommar. But what if I told you that hatred wasn't yours? What if the movie planted it there, carefully, surgically, and then used your own anger to turn you into a cult member by the credits? In the next few minutes, I'm going to prove that Ari Aster didn't just show you a cult. He recruited you into one, and by the end of this video, you'll realize you passed the audition without ever knowing there was a test. Let's start with a question. When you first saw that opening shot, the long, slow zoom through snowy trees, the dissonant strings, Dani's sister with the hose taped to her mouth, did you feel relieved when it cut to bright Swedish grass? Of course you did. That's the first trick. Aster weaponizes your relief. Real cults don't grab you in the dark. They grab you in the light after something terrible has happened, when you're desperate for warmth. Midsommar opens with the worst night of Dani's life. Her sister and parents are dead. Dani is left completely alone. And then the movie offers her a trip to a sunny village where people wear white dresses and dance around a maypole. You wanted her to go. You wanted her to feel better. That was step one of the brainwashing. You stopped asking whether Horga was dangerous and started asking whether Dani would smile again. Now let's talk about the sunlight. Horror movies have trained you for decades. Darkness means danger. Shadows mean monsters. But Midsommar never turns off the sun. The entire film happens in perpetual daylight. At first, that feels safe. Bright, open fields, pastel flowers, wooden barns. But after 20 minutes, the light starts to feel wrong. There are no corners to hide in, no night to end the day. Your brain, which relies on sunset to release melatonin and close emotional loops, never gets that signal. You stay in a state of low-grade alertness, unable to settle, unable to escape. This is the same technique interrogators use. Sleep deprivation and constant illumination break down psychological resistance. By the time the first ritual happens, you're not thinking clearly. You're just watching, waiting, hoping something will make sense. And then comes the Ättestupa, the cliff jump. An old man and an old woman walk to the edge. The community wails with them, not against them. They're not crying in horror, they're crying in communion. When the bodies hit the rocks, the crowd finishes the grief together. Watch your own reaction next time. You probably flinched at the impact, but then you noticed how organized it was. How ritualized, how nobody screamed for an ambulance, and a tiny part of your brain, the part that hates chaos, started rationalizing. You thought, well, they're old. They chose this. At least it's honest. That thought is the recruitment moment. You just justified a public suicide because the cult made it feel ceremonial instead of cruel. Congratulations, you're already compromising. But the real brainwashing happens through Dani. She cries for nearly 20% of the movie's runtime. That's not hyperbole. Someone calculated the minutes. She wails, she hyperventilates, she curls into fetal positions, she screams into Christian's chest. And because the movie gives you almost no one else to attach to, Christian is detached, Pell is creepy, the others are interchangeable, you lock onto Dani. Your mirror neurons fire. When she cries, you feel a dull echo of grief. When she's ignored, you feel indignation. By the time Christian lies about writing his thesis on Horga, you're not watching a couple fight. You're watching someone betray you personally. That's the empathy hijack. Aster doesn't need to make Christian evil. He just needs you to feel Dani's pain as your own. And once you do, you'll accept any solution that ends that pain. Now let's talk about the most uncomfortable part of this brainwashing, the sex ritual. Christian is drugged, led into a barn, and coerced into mating with a girl named Maya. The movie shows it from the outside, wide shots, no internal consent. But here's the terrifying detail. The film never labels it assault. Christian is upright, he's moving, he seems to participate, and because you already hate him for being a bad boyfriend, a significant part of you watches that scene and thinks, he wanted it. Or worse, he deserves this. I've watched this movie with dozens of people. Almost no one says the word rape afterward. They say cheating, they say betrayal, they say he's awful. But the movie has carefully manipulated you into seeing Christian not as a victim of the cult, but as a perpetrator against Dani. That is classic cult indoctrination. Isolate a target, dehumanize them, and then any harm done to them feels justified. Now think about the May Queen dance. Dani wins. She's exhausted, drugged with flowers, emotionally shattered, and she smiles. That smile is the most dangerous moment in the film. Because you smile too. After 2.5 hours of watching this woman suffer, you finally get a reward. She's crowned, she's chosen, she belongs to something. And belonging is the most addictive drug in the human brain. Cults don't keep members through fear, they keep them through family. The Horga gave Dani sisters who hold her when she screams, a ritual that validates her pain and a purpose. By the time she volunteers to pick the final sacrifice, you're not horrified. You're proud of her. She's finally taking control. That's the moment the brainwashing is complete. You want the same thing the cult wants. You want Christian in the bear suit. Let me say that again. You want Christian in the bear suit. You don't say it out loud. But when Dani sees his face inside the disemboweled bear carcass and she hesitates for 1 second, you hold your breath. You're afraid she'll save him. And when she doesn't, when she smiles as the temple burns, you feel relief. That relief is your membership fee. You just agreed that a person can be so broken, so neglectful, so imperfect, that burning them alive is a happy ending. That is not a horror movie opinion, that is cult logic. And Ari Aster planted it in you so carefully that you probably defended the ending to your friends. I know I did. I said it was cathartic. I said Christian had it coming. I was wrong. I was brainwashed. Now I want you to rewind in your mind. Think about every time you felt uncomfortable during Midsommar, the blood eagle on the block, the pubic hair in the soup, the old man's skull cracking on the rock. Did you look away? Probably not, because the movie never gives you permission. There's no dark theater to hide in, no night to signal intermission. You're trapped in the light, just like the characters, and your discomfort slowly mutates into fascination. Then fascination into acceptance. Then acceptance into approval. That's the 3-step conversion. Step 1, isolate the subject. Step 2, exhaust their emotional defenses. Step 3, offer them a new family with new rules. You arrived as a viewer, you left as a Horga. So where does that leave you? Did you enjoy Midsommar? Did you recommend it to friends? Did you buy the director's cut? Then you are part of the experiment, and the experiment worked. You felt the same communal catharsis as the Horga. You laughed at the same moments, you gasped at the same shocks. You watched a woman's entire family die, her boyfriend get drugged and raped and burned, and you called it beautiful. I'm not saying you're a bad person, I'm saying you're a human person, and human brains are terrifyingly easy to hijack when you give them a trauma, a villain, and a flower crown. Now here is the scariest question I can ask you. If you were in Dani's position, if you had lost everyone and a smiling community offered to hold you while you screamed, would you say no? Would you notice the cliff? Would you question the bears? Or would you dance until your feet bled, crown yourself in flowers, and smile as the temple burned? Be honest. Your answer is the score of how thoroughly Midsommar brainwashed you, and the only way to break the spell is to admit that Christian was not the monster, the cult was. And you clapped when they won. Thank you for watching. If you felt uncomfortable during this video, that's good. That's the first step back. Leave a comment with the exact moment you realized you were rooting for the cult.